最近的队友状态还好吧，是没有之前的话是玩的太自闭了吧，但是最近没有自闭，这都在努力的。主题的话，我感觉现在没有之前的强，所以我打他都应该能打得过。我相信我自己能逼赢他。
Wise words from Gingo before the match. Unfortunately, that's not how any of that panned out. He wasn't able to take it to 957 in the top lane. 957 got the best of him with that Gnar pick. And form looking good for FPX lately.
And they just had to dash my hopes right there.
Not in the last match.
They just went back to something that didn't work. It's already been proven to not work for them. I don't understand why they're going back to the same style. The Kog'Maw was really the big problem there. But overall, I do actually agree with Gimgoon that he should have a good matchup into the top side. Realistically, 957 is a 3-champion player at this point. It's Gnar, Cho'Gath, and Chen. He's only played those 3 for the past over 10 games.
Well, he's got some Gnar in that last match and did well on the champion in the top lane, but for Team WE, it was Pepper, the previous jungler from FPX, who picked up MVP in Game 1. He was a huge portion of the aggression
25%
that we saw in the early game.
25% of his team's damage. That's not a typo. You don't see that type of number unless you're a mid laner or a top laner. So, dealing a lot of damage himself, getting that fed early game, and that play in the river, I bet is why all the MVP votes went his way. The 1v2 scenario where he was able to trade with it, showing that footwork and getting revenge on his team. Though, he did decide to leave the team on his own accord, so...
So he still gets revenge, though. I mean, even if he chose to leave the team, still feels good to take down your previous teammates. And he did so quite decisively in that last match. It was just game 1 of a best of 3, but things really need to change for FPX. Now they're going to blue side, so they've solved one problem, which is the Aatrox problem, but nothing else.
I think what they do on the blue side, and this is something I really like about FPX's drafting, is that they can flex the Camille. So a lot of times they first pick Camille, and if the jungle matchup favors them, then they then have Alex go onto the Camille, and they can play it towards the top and try to punish 957. Gimgoon does favor the Camille into Gnar matchup. He actually does pick that, considering it a counter pick, even though most top laners don't. But he's comfortable enough to do so. So I think that's going to be the big pick for them. And the question for W is, do they actually have the bans? Now they have to take out Aatrox to still keep Camille locked down.
Potentially. I mean, they could try and take away Camille with the Aatrox and, you know, weave some bans in between. Because if you look at the draft phase from that last match, nothing really stood out for the first few picks when it came to FPX. So if you remove some of those signature picks, they should be actually fine going into the next draft. I mean, Zoe got picked up 3rd by FPX. Even giving that away first shouldn't seem to be a big problem. Cool, had a good game on the champion, but if Pepper can keep playing as aggressive as he did, WE should look on form going into game 2.
What I'm very afraid of is going to happen is that FPX might go for the Camille thing, and then WE is going to go for Varus Tahm-Kench insta lock and just win bot lane. That's a very real possibility, and since FPX slipped past their mind completely in game 1, it could slip again in game 2, and that would be in itself a win condition for WE.
So let's see if that's going to happen. Before we actually get into this match, let's hear from 957, because we heard from Gimgoon. Let's see what 957 has to say about Gimgoon.
对阵金工的话，我觉得金工是一名优秀的上单吧。对阵他的话，我觉得我只要发挥好自己应该有的水平，应该就能应付。
He says Gimgoon's a good top lane, and he says I just have to play normally and I'll be fine.
He says what he always says. That's the classical 957 answer. You could ask him that about any single team, and he would give you that.
Hey, 957, what do you think about mangoes? I think mangoes are a great fruit. I just have to eat them as I normally eat all my other foods. Is that the 957 answer for everything?
Pretty much. Like, I really like 957 at the start of the split. I thought he was trying a couple of new things. He played the Aurelia top lane. He was going back to the Vladimir. It looked a bit lively. But as WE start to pile up those losses, they pretty much slammed him back onto the usual suspects, put him back on the Gnar, and he's been a mainly blind pick top laner for now.
Well, what's gone wrong with WE? Because last year they were one of the World Championship semi-finals, and some people thought they could potentially make it all the way to the Grand Finals. People had high hopes for both RNG as well as WE, trying to cause upsets and potentially make it an all LPL final. Of course, that didn't happen. Both LCK teams went to the Grand Final. We had an LCK against LCK Grand Final. But since then, it's just been a complete drop-off from WE. They played out of the play-ins as well from the World Championship. They had to play all the way from play-ins, made it all the way to the semi-finals, but now they don't even look anywhere close to their previous form.
Well, I would say 3 things. 2 duos were broken up. Ben and Mystic were no longer the case. Ben heavily underperformed in Spring Split, so they had to take that away. And then Condi had to sit out because of death in the family. Our condolences, but Spring Split, Condi was nowhere to be seen. And then Coach Home also left the roster, who is now coaching JD Gaming, and they're having a very swell time at it as well. So, you know, in terms of the brain drain, it's definitely been the case for WE, and in terms of the strong duo that has made this team successful and be able to compete in the early game, that was also removed.
Right, and even though they have the players back on the roster, we haven't seen them work as well together as what we saw previously. I mean, losing Coach Home as well is going to be a big task, a tough pain point for Team WE. They haven't seemed to work around it just yet, but that last match was at least better. WE. No substitutes coming into this, so it's still going to be Mystic and Ben in the bottom lane, a duo we don't frequently get to see from WE. Now we'll still have Pepper running around in the jungle.
I think this rotation, this roster current lineup is going to be what W moves forward with. Condi, I don't think, has had the best of the summer split, and Pepper's early aggression, you could see how he completely stifled out what Alex wanted to do, forced him to use ultimates in inopportune times, and basically ran the map. So I do think that W, if they can just concentrate on this roster, focus on this lineup, give all the games and play time to this 5-man group, they could rebound in 2019.
Whereas for FPX, this is a match they cannot lose.
No.
Normally it's not something you'd say to WE. They always have a chance to pull off the victory because it is the experience of WE that they can work with. But for FPX, if you're trying to fight for a top 4 playoff spot, you need to take matches against teams who are at the bottom of the conference. This is a must-win match for FPX. Now they're at match point though. WE have match point, and if they put up a similar performance to what we saw from WE in the first game, it's going to be very difficult for FPX to fight back.
Just some fans saying, FPX, you can do it, you can make it into playoffs. But like you said, it is a very tough road ahead of them. I believe they still have Rogue Warriors and Snake waiting for them. So those two are on top of the standings. They need to go through those two. And their biggest contender right now is Snake, who is half a game ahead of them. And OMG, who is 1.5 games beneath them. So a lot of things could still happen to this FPX, but they've definitely gone through the easier part of their schedule.
Yeah, they still need to pick up a win here. That's what we're hoping for FPX. And we're hoping to go back to the playstyle which we expected of them going into this series, which is completely aggressive from the very get-go, taking it to WE nice and early. But we haven't seen that so far. We didn't see it in game 1. They swapped over sides, so FPX will be on the blue side. And hopefully we can see more aggression from them this time around.
Whenever you're playing the blue side, the question is always what's going to be those flex picks coming in from FPX? And to be honest, they do have a couple of them. Swain was one of the big ones. They could actually play in 3 lanes at the same time. They do have this tendency to last pick for the mid laner on blue side, because usually people do save their last picks for top lane instead and give Cool the better matchup. So that's kind of the logic behind FPX's blue side drafting strategies. Again, Camille is also a very big part of that because it can flex between top lane and jungle, and Gimgoon is very confident in bringing the Camille into a lot of matchups that are not really considered favored.
See, even though WE have been eliminated from playoff contention, plenty of WE fans are in the audience. Some of the FPX fans have traveled all the way to Xi'an to support their team. And they will want them to try and pick up the pace in game 2. Send it to match 3. Whereas WE, a 2-0 would be huge for them here today. Let's see how draft phase works out, because Camille as well as Aatrox have been bared up by WE with Talia. Alex will lock in Kindred as his first pick. Sinjal, Rakan, as well as the bands coming out from FPX.
Right, I'm a little bit worried about this. W could just insta-lock in the Varus Tahm Kench. Usually that combination is only afraid of something like the the Trundle, but since the jungler is already revealed, they could go for that strategy, or they could just go for Kai'Sa, which is back to their old usual late game selves.
So Kai'Sa's locked in for Mystic. They don't go for the Varus, which is actually quite surprising.
Yeah, that's been the go-to drafting strategy for a lot of teams in the LPL this week. If those two champions are left open, you take them immediately.
Tom Catch, not much priority as well, especially from the last match. Not even a priority here, but Pepper. Locking in Java. This should be Pepper's jungle champion of choice, but it could be used by 957 in the top lane. We haven't seen too much of it, and FPX are getting much more powerful picks this time around. Swain getting locked in as well.
They do play Swain in multiple positions, actually has shown up in all 3 lanes, in 2 lanes by Cool himself. And usually when you see the Swain, it is to make up for a kill lane, targeting the Kai'Sa once more. On WE's side, I'm looking for the combo, because they're trying to lock people up in the Lamb's Respite, but you do need to finish that combo off with a big AoE ultimate. So that's my big question on what that will be.
Chris locks in Alistar, one of his signature picks, the big bicep pick for Chris, but last match, not that great. Braum is the lock-in for WE as their support of choice.
I would say Ben's support of choice. Ben is, once again, one of those guys that doesn't really branch out in terms of champion pool. Braum and Tom Kench are pretty much the 2 main champions, and you could see them being picked in maybe over 60% of his scenarios.
Out of the meta, Braum still seems to fit in somewhere. This kit's actually very powerful. Can synergize very well with Kai'Sa. Both their passives stack on top of each other nicely, getting you the stun as well as the additional damage. And going to the second ban phase, mid laners are the targets from the 2 teams for now. LeBlanc taken away from Sia, Zoe taken away from Cool.
I really like the Xin Zhao early ban into the Kindred pickup. What they're saying is that they want to guarantee Alex a good matchup, and I think that's a wise choice because Alex hasn't really shown the potential to play from behind, and that should give them the superior 3v3 as well. We could be seeing a potential Aurelion Sol. That would be one of the reasons you ban out LeBlanc, and it is one of those champions that only Cool likes to play in our league, pretty much.
Well, Riot's being banned out by FPX.
That's definitely an Aurelion Sol time.
Aurelion Sol could be picked up by Cool later on, but let's see what WE go for first.
Here's the big AoE answer. We've been waiting for it. What is that AoE damage going to be? What is it that they're going to throw into the Cataclysm? And I like the preemptive Syndra, because Syndra is actually a pretty decent champion into Aurelion Sol as well.
But Azir is the pick of choice to try and swoop people off the Kindred ultimate instead. He's not going for the big AoE damage abilities yet. I still have top lane to work with, unless it's going to be Jarvan top.
FPX changing their strategy a bit. I thought that they were going to go for a kill lane in bot. Again, this is another kill lane with Tristana.
And Tristana in the current meta, not the strongest of picks. Ezreal making a bit more sense, locked in for LWX.
Still a lot of question marks on to where that Swain could go, but this should give Cool the counter pick towards the mid lane. This is exactly what FPX like to do in their own drafts. Against the Azir, you could go for something more hard-hitting, or the Vladimir is a good choice as well. You get poked out early, but you can engage later on.
I see Vel'Koz is being hovered over now. That's been a pick that's been cropping up at the LCK, played a couple of times here in the LPL, but only 1 win so far. Locked in the mid lane for Cool, so that's Swain in the top lane for Gimgoon. LWX picks up the Ezreal. WE now can respond. It's a AP carry in the top lane.
Yep, and the Vel'Koz is a very strong answer towards the Azir, but I don't really think it fits into the enemy composition. I actually feel like it's quite dangerous to run the Azir, the Vel'Koz, because there's Braum that can block a lot of your damage, he can interrupt you, and there's a Jarvan as well. So I'm a bit hesitant to call that a great pick in terms of the compositions.
Much more standard coming out from WE though. They're going to go for the Dr. Mundo pick in the top lane for 957.
Not a lot that can happen in that matchup, but
I mean,
the push should go to Swain.
It's also good into the lineup, right? I mean, you see Swain, Vel'Koz, and Ezreal, 3
Yeah.
champions that don't deal with Dr. Mundo very well. The only one he really needs to watch out for is going to be Kindred.
Interesting draft phase. I don't really think FPX have the most cohesive of compositions. On blue side, they threw out the early flex pick of Swain, which they do play in 3 lanes, but aside from the counter matchup in mid, I don't really think they got a lot of what they wanted out of the draft. The only other thing I would say would be Alex having a good matchup onto Jarvan. Jarvan does have a bit of trouble clearing early, does fall quite low. So that should give a lot of windows where Alex is on the map, but Pepper cannot respond to.
Right, there's 2 ways to clear out as Jarvan. Right? You can go Hunter's Machete, go for the single target camps, and especially when he gets Kindred, if you manage to get the marked Scuttle Crab, look for a fight there, something Kindred doesn't deal well with is gap closing, something Jarvan has. I'm just curious about the laning phase, because you'd normally want some help to deal with a Kindred. Swain should have to push to Dr. Mundo top, that's a given, but Vel'Koz going into mid lane against Azir. This is one you'd expect Azir to pull ahead slightly early, but should just be a push back and forth.
Yep. Azir does have the early push before Vel'Koz can get the Tectonic Rifts stored up and ready to go. Usually do see a couple points into the E, and then shifting over to the Fissure for the extra slow percentage. Very few champions actually take that sort of a build path where they only put 3 points in one skill and then go max something else, but that is how Vel'Koz is played the majority of the times.
We don't see too much Vel'Koz in the LPL. I know it's quite popular in the LCK at the moment. But Cool's going to pick it up into the mid lane, showing us once again how many champions he can play for FPX. Diverse champion pool, Sia going back towards the Emperor of Shurima to deal with Kindred's ultimate, but it's also match point for Team WE. FPX going to try and come out strong in this second game, but let's see what happens. Go into the Rift for match 2. Plenty of WE fans, you can hear the drums as well, but of course, some FPX fans in the arena.
It's not fair when you have the drums. They just pump so much energy into your own crowd that I don't think you're ever going to hear an away team beat out the chants in Xi'an.
Or you could just be like EDG fans and just cheer over the OMG fans.
I can't believe how triggered you are by that.
It's
You've been complaining
just
that
not
for 2
okay.
sets.
I mean, you're traveling to someone's house and then you shout over their parents. It's like, just disrespectful.
All right, to be fair, there probably are more EDG fans in all stadiums.
So
I would say
what?
maybe Beijing would be the exception.
No. So what? I don't care if you're 99% EDG fans in that arena. You be respectful. Be humble. Sit down. No?
I like
Triggered.
that song. It was a good track.
Have a check-in with this match. FPX against WE. No early jungle skirmishes or anything, just wards placed down in the rivers. Glacial Augment is the pickup for Cool on Vel'Koz in the mid lane.
Excuse me, you do put early points into the W, not the E. Got a little bit confused by the Vel'Koz skills. It's not really a champion we see in the LPL much. It's a very interesting choice as well. Typically, we do see the Comet being the mainstay for Vel'Koz's, but I could understand a little bit why you would take the Ice Hoodie. Does slow down with your auto attacks and allows you to follow up easier with the knockup.
Vel'Koz's auto attacks also extend stacks of his passive. So he does use them from time to time, not as impactful as you would like. Glacial Augment also makes it easier for him to hit that knockback you were talking about. Alex, however, has been able to get a good start. Scuttle Crab spawned and was marked on his side of the map. So Pepper will be able to take away Scuttle Crab on the bottom side of the map near the Infernal Dragon. But let's get his Krugs taken away. Isn't able to deny the first mark away from Alex.
This is definitely an advantage to Alex. He has more camps to go back to and was very lucky on the RNG. You really hate it as Kindred when you go to the top side and the mark is on the bottom side. So good RNG, good early wave clear, but it does seem like WE do suspect this route coming out from Alex, even though 957's ward actually did not see the Kindred.
Pepper actually makes his way in towards their side of the jungle. Ooh, guesses it right. So Pepper still going to try and take away these Raptor camps. He's actually had a good jungle path so far. Cleared out majority of his jungle except for his Krugs. Took away Scuttle Crab. And now is actually taking Raptors away from Alex.
Yep, if he does go down to Krugs, then he would actually come out ahead of this entire ordeal. And you can see both sides actually pinging on that exact camp. Wondering if that's actually going to be the only place where Kindred can be on the map right now.
But you were talking about it earlier, in the sense that Jarvan falls low during his jungle clear, especially if he doesn't go towards the Hunter's Talisman, which helps him a lot more during the AoE clears, but makes it a bit slower. So now he's got his first recall in. He's upgraded his smites to start.
Ooh, very good trade coming in from Cool.
Damage. You can see the Glacial Augment keeping Sia locked there.
I believe that was without the knockup as well. So Vel'Koz is does outrange the Azir, 1400 range on your ultimate. Very easy to actually get a kill combination if you do start out with the knockup.
Very nice into Kindred's ultimate as well. If players from WE try to jump on top of the Lens Respite, Vel'Koz's ultimate is going to quickly make sure they don't want to stay there for long. Alex actually being jumped on here. Good jump by Pepper. He'll have a few more dashes available, but jumps away from Lamb.
Doesn't have the follow-up damage from Xie. Probably can't make it over the bend, so just decides to back off. But that's a flash blown already coming out from Alex.
And that's what we were talking about during Champion Select. If Pepper gets to jump onto Alex, he has the gap closer, which is what Kindred struggles against. As long as you have a way to close the distance, Kindred can't kite you, can't get the extra damage.
I agree, but I would say most of the time, I feel like Jarvan's a really dicey matchup in the Kindred. The low cooldown nature of the Dance of Arrows just makes it so easy for you to dodge out. You pretty much have to do it blind, from a blind spot from Kindred to actually get the knockup. It's an incredibly difficult matchup for the Jarvan, and I actually think they decided to put Pepper on Jarvan just for the extra attack speed. If you look at their mid lane and their bottom side, they're both very heavy attack speed champions. And the Jarvan also does work in creating space for your composition as well. You know, Jarvan really isn't one of those meta champions that you blind pick. You have to pick it to go with the composition, or else you're just giving up a lot of early game pressure.
So far hasn't costed them any early game pressure, as in fact, Pepper's pulling ahead slightly from Alex, about 10 CS up, forcing him to recall quite early too. Going towards the Warriors enchantment first as well, so not a Cinderhulk Jarvan. LWX in the bottom lane, taking quite a beating from Mystic as well as Ben. Mystic starting with the Doran shield instead of a Doran's ring this time.
Does think he's going to take a lot of harass, and this is one of those lanes that Kindred could visit quite often. Not really try for a kill gank, but she could just hop in, deal a little bit of damage, so you do want ways to keep yourself in lane. And they are respecting the all-in potential by taking the heal as well.
LWX has teleport, so he's going to be pretty happy with his current position in the matchup. He'll be able to go back to base, teleport back in with a tier. Mystic's trying his best to hard shove this and cancel the recalls from time to time. Pepper's looking to try and see if he can make an impact on the mid lane for Team WE.
Cool, looking for the kill. You could do it in one combo, potentially.
Full summon the spells for Sia though, whereas bottom lane's the target. Alex makes a trip down there. That's heal as well as flash being burnt by Mystic.
And just look at the river control coming out from FPX. Cool winning the lane and sauntering towards the right-hand side of the map. Really links up with the bottom side from FPX as well, and they should be looking on this first Infernal.
Pepper might be trying to go aggressive here though. Alex is going to be able to take blue buff for the team.
It's going to be very difficult for them to actually try to change the scenario because they are walking through a ton of vision.
That's a good play coming out from FPX. Teleport back into the bottom lane by LWX. Means they get the jump onto Mystic, burn both his summoner spells, and transition that into pressure around blue buff. Just give it over towards Alex. Denied from Sia, which is quite crucial. And his own blue buff is going to spawn shortly, so he should be able to donate that to Cool. So they don't get the kills bottom lane, but they get more objectives from the gank they got bottom side besides just the summoner spells.
Yeah, and W still have not wrestled the vision back coming in from FPX, so staying here is pretty much laying on dangerous ground. Half health already being done to Shiye, the ultimate blown.
This gives Pepper some time to stun Infernal Dragon though. Kindred's going towards top side to donate blue buff over. Chris will spot this one out. And without the threat of Vel'Koz ultimate and no Kindred nearby, this is going to be Infernal Dragon going the way of Team WE, unless we see a steal coming out from Ezreal, which is actually possible. But no, Pepper smites it away.
That's a ton of wasted gold from FPX. They actually sunk 3 control wards into controlling that side of the river, and then they lost Infernal Drake.
Next stack for Kindred also being taken away as looking for a dive top side. 957 in between his 2 turrets. He wants to try and get close towards experience range, but Alex is close by. Doesn't know that Kindred is here. Gimgoon pops the ultimate early. 957 now going to spot out the gank is imminent. But playing this one well so far.
This is a tough one for FPX. 957 has flash, ult, and stopwatch. I don't think you want to go in for this one.
Ultimate from Gimgoon does fall off though. So Demonic Ascension not going to do much, but Zone 957 plays it well. Sacrificed quite a bit of CS there to stay alive in the top lane, but does stay alive nonetheless, popping his own ultimate now.
I think unfortunately the sequencing of events for FPX and their tempo control was not very good in that series.
Pepper in trouble though, getting locked down. He can flash over the wall, but not long for this world. Chris is here, Flag and Drag gets him out for now, so gotta be careful. Ezreal ultimate gets the snipe. First blood going the way of FPX.
That was such a well-placed arcane barrage. You could see that it covered the entire width of that corridor. There's no hope for Pepper to do anything. So he was trying to equalize because his Krugs was being taken on the top side, but going in when Shiye was backing. Bit of the greed taking over for him.
Now Sia stuck underneath his turret with Alex and Cool both pushing aggressively. Alex also used this time to pick up the second mark for himself, which is quite crucial. One more and he'll get the extra range. Something that Pepper's been very conscious of the entire time. Taking the marks away from Alex will lose his Raptor camp.
And you can see Shiye just having such a tough time in this matchup. You have to remember that he lost his second blue buff, so really can't match the shove coming in from Cool.
Unfortunately, we do get a quick pause here. To find out what's going on, we will let you guys back at home know any updates we may have.
Read some of the signs here. For WE fans, if you fall down, it's okay. Just get up again. Never give up.
That's Royal slogan. Never give up.
A lot of teams actually have that
You
slogan.
can't just blatantly steal a team's name and say that's my slogan.
Come on, let the fans have some fun. Let them scream when they want to. Let them write the fan signs they want to.
I refuse.
You're no fun at all, Fish.
I wore a Hawaiian shirt on Friday. I am a very fun individual.
That was a good sales segment from you guys. I really appreciated the work. The sunglasses really did sell it for me. I went home and bought all of the pool party skins I could.
Yep. Thank you for the pool party skins.
But unfortunately, we do have a pause right here. FPX looking quite strong in this matchup. I really think the difference is Alex having a better matchup. He's willing to invade into the enemy jungle. And so far, even though the CS score has been leaning towards Pepper, he has to be the one to play away from the Kindred.
Pepper with this Jarvan pick, we haven't seen too much from it. No gags. Did go aggressive against the Kindred in the river, but WE this time, we haven't seen too much from them. In game 2, FPX controlling the game quite well. They don't have too much going for them, but they have been the more proactive team. Infernal Dragon has gone the way of WE, so late game is definitely a possibility.
It's just so cool to see how FPX actually draft, because they have very high consistency on what they do on the blue side. They really like to leverage Cool's massive champion pool, 18 champions in total. Absolute madman. Can you think about that? Practicing 18 champions in a single split. Does give him the superior matchup against the Azir as well. Able to push Xie in.
FLICKR's doing well so far in the mid lane. WE didn't have to show that pick, but they did. Seems to be an issue with, I believe, Gimgun's completer there.
I think for this game, we're pretty much waiting for if the late game will arrive for WE to have a very strong power spike then.
WE are at match points at the moment. Remember that. Look at FPX's score, 6-9 in the LPL, WE 3-13.
In the spring split, these two teams were both tied at 9 wins and 10 series losses. They had the same head-to-head score, and it came down to overall match win-losses to put WE into the playoffs. So a very heartbreaking series of events for FPX in the spring split. This will be their chance to get revenge on WE. They do have to work themselves through the pause first.
It's actually been fairly slow matches for the past 2 matches between the two. I mean, we saw early aggression from WE, the use of Pepper on Xin Zhao. This time round, drafting's been a lot better from the two teams. The Kindred pick is interesting from Alex. There's a few teams that just won't play the champion.
There's a few teams that insta-lock them, like Haro.
Who?
Haro.
Who's Haro?
The backup for
EDG
Clear
sub,
Love.
that's right.
Hey, he did well. Before they started the 3-game losing streak, he was the main player. They did have to push the emergency button and, wake Clear Love from whatever crypt they were keeping him in, and have him try to carry back the team. But I will say something about Clear Love and Pepper that they have in common. They're pretty much our only 2 successful Xin Zhao players. Xin Zhao actually has an incredibly bad win rate.
I actually think Xin Zhao is very bad with the current meta, but
Yeah.
LPL teams keep picking him.
I understand that. It actually has it was hovering around 20-something% win rate last week, because you have no late game to speak of, and you have no escape if things go wrong. So it's a very fragile pick. You do have to snowball on it quite hard. But in certain matchups, it's good, like the Talia and the Kindred.
I just think he's budget Pantheon.
You can be budget Pantheon? I thought Pantheon was budget enough.
No. I just feel like Xin Zhao's budget Pantheon.
The
If you're gonna pick a point-and-click gap closer with high burst damage champion, Pantheon.
Have you seen Pantheon's win rate recently?
It's gone up a lot, hasn't it?
Oh my god,
I've been
it's
playing a
disgusting.
lot in the jungle.
I think it's top 5 at this point. The extra attack speed buff, and they gave him 10 extra damage on every single gank, the Zeonian shield.
Silly.
I don't know why you do that.
I mean, I'm okay. I'm a Pantheon jungler, so I'm okay with buffing Pantheon. But silly! Why would you give him 8% extra attack speed and say, oh, it's just going to help him out in jungle? No! That's an extra auto attack in the gank. It makes me happy.
Yeah.
Just ping! Hit him with the spear.
I wonder when we're going to see that in professional play.
Never.
The win rate is super high, but it's a very cheesy pick. What you do on Pantheon is you level 2 red buff gank. That's it. Is there any other strategy?
Yes, counter jungle.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll give you that. I'll
just
give you that.
take it and go into Kindred's jungle, press W on Kindred, it's like, haha. Ah!
Electrocute.
Dance around. Stupid lamb.
You are a very angry man today, Fish.
I'm always angry, that's the secret. Just like the Hulk. Just permanently enraged.
What do you turn into then?
Giant guppy. I don't know. Shark?
That is still a fish.
Do I
I'll take
evolve
that.
from fish to shark? That'd be pretty cool. That's one of the first things my dad said to me, by the way, when he found out that in the esports community, my name was Fish. Someone called me that in public, and he went up to never met the person, so went up immediately and said, "Oh, if he's Fish, my name's Shark." Just things parents like to do. Be completely embarrassing sometimes.
It is a dad joke. I do not even chuckle. It was a little bit difficult.
I should change my name though. I should become Shark and just play Fizz only.
Fizz is on the rise as well.
Oh,
They
that
gave him so
champion's-
much damage
That
back.
champion is broken.
Did you see how much they buffed him?
Yes.
0.3 AP ratio if he just flings the
Yep.
fish on your face.
It's like, oh, okay, so he has 0.9 total just for pressing. Okay.
They
That's
want to
my
change
health
him into a melee type of champion and let him do enough just staying in melee range. So changing kind of his play pattern just, from like the fishing Fizz where he throws his ultimate from very far away and hopes it lands to just being able to melee you straight up.
Oh, please don't bring Fizz back into these matches. Had enough of LPL teams picking that up with Smite and Sunfire Cape top lane. Don't need any more.
Hey, I do want to see it because you know who's our Fizz player in LPL?
Who's that?
Yagao.
Oh,
Do you want to see your boy Yagao on some Assassin Fizz? I want to.
No,
That sounds great.
no, thank you. I do want to see some Pantheon, so hopefully more teams pick him up. Well, back into this match. Technical difficulties that Gimgoon was facing have been resolved, it seems. Why you gotta do Pepper like that, though? Like,
Yeah, it's been a while ago. I think they're just doing for the arcane barrage shot. Oh, the angle was beautiful on that. Could not have placed it better.
that was Pepper being a bit greedy, going for the fight around Raptors. As Chris jumps in once again, that's actually really good onto Mystic, and immediately popping the 80 carry for Team WE. Pepper's jumped in, but lands with Spike's going to keep Alex alive long enough. And WE just can't find fights around FPX's red buff.
And that seemed like a replay out of a replay. Crips going over the wall once more and finding the target. It was a perfect terrain scenario for FPX, and they keep everyone alive with Lambs of Spite as well. I really like Kindred when you're running a poke composition and you're going up a mainly range type of composition, because you can just stand in front of them and trade blows and know that you're always going to come out ahead. You're not going to die.
No. But champions aside, what was WE thinking?
They were thinking about revenge for Pepper. They wanted to build him like a tombstone.
That's not how that works.
No, I actually feel like it was a really ill-fated decision. Vel'Koz was off the map. You're forcing yourself into a choke. And they knew Crisp was right around the corner at Krugs, and they still went in for it anyway. Which was the surprising part for me. Like, they dropped the war down, the control war then came down, so you know that there's a cow right over the wall.
Yep. Mystic as well, with some awkward positioning on top of that. Just gets crowd controlled to death. Fighting in choke points against Kindred and Vel'Koz.
What could go wrong?
Interesting. Poor decision making for WE, but FPX punished them quite well, and Alf's going to try and take this time to pick up Riftel.
Interesting build coming out from the Vel'Koz as well. We're seeing the extra slow to complement the Glacial Augment as well.
Well, you're not running away from this man anymore.
Yeah. Like, Vel'Koz is one of those champions that we do see a lot of interesting builds come out of. Twin Shadows is actually something we do see a lot of Vel'Koz's pick up as well, just to catch up to their targets, and I believe this is kind of in the same vein.
Just keep them locked down as long as possible, seems to be the name of the game for Cool. Picks up blue buff for himself as well. FPX 3,000 gold in the lead over WE as Mystic. Oh, dashes for one more would be enough. Can he get the art? Can't get it. Sidestep by Mystic. Big fight between the 80 carries.
No flash, a flash was blown from LWX, so Mystic does come out slightly ahead. A trade overall. It's very hard to outplay someone with a early Storm Razors. Like, the stats it gives you the extra crit.
Cool's been jumped on here by Pepper. Good night, Cool, taking so much damage. Force the flash over. Pepper follows through. Gonna get knocked up, but a solo kill being picked up by Jarvan.
And you can see he's a very experienced Jarvan player. Just look at the distance where he was hiding. He puts a control ward inside the Pixel Brush in River and waits for someone to cross by. He knows the range can hit the EQ knockup right there. And now to think about it, actually Pepper's first made his name on
Jarvan.
Yeah,
He did. It's
he
a
was
very
the Jarvan one
comfort.
trick.
It's a very comfort pick for Pepper. It's something that WE are used to, because Condi used to play Jarvan. Then they had Magic for a while, played Jarvan quite a bit. Alright, Alex is going to be able to pick up another mark for himself, which is the important one. That puts him at 5 stacks now after the kills he had.
So already had the extra attack range
He's
to
got
boot.
the extra range. One more would give him another boost, I believe.
So the I guess the question for me is, when is FPX going to potentially look to siege against their WE's second towers? They do have a very strong poke type of composition. They have Alistar to bust up the front line, as well as Gimgoon. It's a very strong setup type of team, and it's gonna take WE to cause some sort of a flank to really outplay at this point.
I mean, they've got to either siege top lane or bottom, right? Dr. Mundo is now doing fine against Swain. In fact, has a level advantage over Swain. Spirit Visage means he's not going to take too much damage. Mystic, as we saw earlier, happy to go toe-to-toe against LWX. 2 levels behind Ezreal as well.
Well, that laning phase did not go so hot for them.
We're going to see a Trinity force Ezreal as well, so LWX going for as much damage as possible in this match.
I think that's a pretty smart move if you're going to go for the siege type of composition. Good dodge out by Alex.
Nice play by Pepper as well, gets some damage and also gets the heck out of dodge.
Just want to see where Cool ends up playing at. He's already pushing Xia in very heavily. They should think about taking down these Silene towers at this point.
Bottom lane tower is definitely one they can look towards. I mean, Dr. Mundo's on his island, top lane with Swain. Even though Swain got some good chip damage in the top lane out to turret, difficult to take down now. Rift Herald being dropped bottom lane means FPX should take another turret for themselves. Eventually WE have to make the bleeding stop though. They've got to try and start a fight somewhere.
That's not how WE thinks about things. WE thinks eventually 35 minutes has to come.
Yeah, it's not too long. It's another 18 minutes. Only halfway there. I think I got the math wrong there. Doesn't matter. I got it right. I got it right.
It's fine.
It's about there. But turret does fall in the bottom lane. WE still 3,000 gold behind FPX. So they use the Rift Herald well, they take down another turret. Top lane out of turret's going to be a fairly easy one for them to take. Especially with the chip damage that Gimgoon was all ready to get during the laning phase. Now Dr. Mundo's holding his own fairly well, but you just rotate your AD carry up there and that turret's going to be taken down quite quickly.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
And FPX, even if they make it all the way to the late game, I still feel they have a decent chance of beating WE. It's not as clear-cut for WE's composition to win out in the late game. It just comes online in the late game.
This is cheeky from Pepper though. He's able to find LWX. Come on and slam with the Cataclysm. Mystic jumps forward. They get a pick onto the AD carry of FPX, and this could be them trying to break a turret as well.
And we do see the rotation from Crisp was spotted out by WE, so instant 3-man straight stack onto the bot side. But unfortunately for W, I don't think they actually have someone they can place in this long lane. So it's just going to be the turret gold for Mystic, picking up a couple items. But most likely FPX will still take more control over the map, even in terms of the bot side.
Well, they've got mid lane. Kindred just took red buff away from Team WE. Crucial kill though, because LWX was getting far ahead. He was 2 levels above of Mystic, now only 1. Cool's gone for the Twin Shadows, now has Twin Shadow as well as the Hextech GLP.
The classic. It's a very strong catch composition. The longer your Twin Shadows do travel, the longer the slow will persist, up to 40%, I believe. So it's a very good tool to starting jungle fights. You just pop it in the river and everyone follows up.
"20 minutes in, so Baron's going to spawn as well. Dragon's coming up in a minute 30. Firm control of the map for FPX right now. WE are pushing back every time something is taken by FPX. They're still 2,500 gold behind. No laughing matter, 2 items for LWX, who he's very strong on the Ezreal pick. Mystic still waiting for that Rage Blade. Would feel much more comfortable once the Rage Blade is complete.
Bit of a tough scenario for them. You do have to hold on to the red side jungle, and like we said, it's easy for FPX to really start these catches. Both sides playing very tentatively around this objective. I don't really think that FPX has the the damage currently to rush this Baron down super fast. Probably still waiting on a couple more items.
Still Kindred as well as Ezreal that can deal decent amount of damage over time. But remember how much Jarvan's going to have impact in that area. Chris and Alex have to be careful. Good cancel of Pepper. Alex going to follow through, gets that kill. Pepper tries to slam, not going to work. Ben follows after as well. Caught inside their own jungle.
Yeah, it was a good two-man. W did use the sweeper onto the ward in front of the red. They thought it was safe to advance, but Chris was waiting for them. This is the third time in a row that Chris has caught out Pepper and crew to give FPX a massive advantage.
Good control over red buff, or red buff pit, I should say, the red side of WE's jungle. Finding the 2 picks onto Pepper and Ben. All that WE get as a consolation prize is the Cloud Dragon. This is much better coming up from FPX though, playing more aggressive, more towards their playstyle, and drafting a lot better. In match 2 at least.
Yeah, I actually do prefer FPX on the blue side in terms of drafts, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. They think it's clear, they sweep it, but they should have waited for Ben to inch a little bit further. Instead, they're caught off guards by Crips already waiting there. I would actually say that's Pepper's fault a little bit. He should not have followed as closely as he did with Ben.
I mean,
let
look,
the sweeper do his work.
You've got the support to try and clear things out. You've got Winter's Bite to face check. You've got your flag to face check.
You've got your face too.
It's not the one we want to be using. But that's now increased to a 4,000 gold lead in favor of FPX.
And here's the sieging scenario that we talked about. FPX looking to go forward to. What we really want to try to spot out are those potential flanks coming in from WE from the sides. Their best bet is probably to have Pepper roaming around in one of these raptor pits and then come in while FPX is setting up shop. So you do see WE already sweeping out that area. There he is, waiting for the play.
FPX hitting Pepper blind there. WE are still holding on strong against the Baron buff. 957 will make his way down towards the bottom side of the map. Has Warmog's armor as well as Merc Treads, as well as the Spirit Passage, so it's going to be difficult for the AP champions to deal with him. Big item pickups for the carries on the side of WE as well. Nash's Tooth, Banshees for Azir. You have Quintu's Rageblade being complete for Kai'Sa. FPX make the rotation bottom side with a big minion wave as well, so this turret should fall. A good macro play from FPX.
It's really simple, blocking out the jungle corridor from WE. Chris doing a good job sealing that pathway. Easy rotation nets them an extra tower.
But FPX only going to be able to get some chip damage on this inhibitor for now. Another wave's going to push in, so 2 cannons now. They could try and step up and push for a fight here. Pepper with a big flank.
He isn't spotted by FPX.
No, but the WA taking way too much damage. Even Vel'Koz ultimate coming out. Sia taking damage. LWX goes forward. They get the kill, and FPX, they're going to try and start the fight. Chris jumps to the back lines. Mystic with a good shield, trying to fight back. Gimgoon pops the Demonic Ascension and moves forward.
Pepper was in position, but Xia took way too much damage. Didn't even pop his barrier before falling down. LWX with the hero play. Usually it's a 50-50 on the shotgun, but that was really smart by him. Steps up and takes Xia down.
They're still trying to go for the fight. Gimgoon gets popped. Chris now in a lot of trouble. Lands with Spike, trying to keep them alive. Pepper jumps into the pit. Chris, the next target at WE, might be trying to turn this one around. Pepper going forward. Mystic needs a few more auto attacks, but gets knocked back by LWX. 957 is going to fall down shortly after. Ezreal still hunting for these kills. WE get a few picks for themselves, defend their base, but drop Ben and 957.
Good skill shot usage by Cool. Does tag Mystic on the end of that fight, so forces him out. That was a scenario where Mystic could have potentially cleaned the entire team of FPX off. I think what really started that siege was the extra slow from the Glacial Augment. You could see the pathways on the ground. Actually a sustained slow field there. Probably did catch W off guard a little bit, and also the reason why that Vel'Koz is bringing into this build.
Also, Sia just looks out of sorts in this matchup. He hasn't been falling, but doesn't look like he's comfortable.
Yeah, he just took way too much damage off of that. Let's see. Oh, this is going to be the second fight. Kim Goon does fall down incredibly fast, gets tagged early by Winter's Bite. And you can see 957 already in the pit, trying to force Cool and Alex out of the situation.
Ooh.
Let's see how Mystic, actually gets tagged by LWX's Mystic shot over the Mundo, so is forced to go out of the fight.
Yeah, a few micro interactions not going in WE's favor. Mystic popping the stopwatch too late. Mistiming the W on the stopwatch coming out from Cool. And a lot of things going in FPX's favor in that fight. Playing it well so far. They've had a good start to this match. Now they just need to finish it out strong. Take this to game 3. 5,000 gold, 6,000 gold lead for FPX. Bottom lane inhibitor is now down. 957's been forced to deal with this. Chris being caught out here, has ultimate, but they're going to try and burst him down nice and quickly. They get the stopwatch and the ultimate, and they settle for it. But a good lockdown to Mystic. You can't be in that position.
Tries to walk through the corner. A bit greedy on the pathing right there. Not willing to take the long cut around.
That's what we saw around Red Buff to start the match.
And I think that was just like 1.5 seconds tagging from Cool was enough to force Mystic out of a team fight. It's not going to get easier from here on out.
It's a 6,000 gold lead for FPX. Very strong moving in towards the late game. Ocean Dragon's going to spawn in 20 seconds and Baron in about a minute 20.
Just like the early death cap from the Vel'Koz, a lot of times you can skip on magic penetration. You do a ton of true damage with your build and your passive on research targets. So not even really needing the Morellos to deal that much damage to Mystic. Quite terrifying.
Rabadon's death cap already complete for him, so Cool will have a lot of ability power coming into this. I mean, even Mystic's gone straight towards Azonia's Hourglass. Stormrazor, Guinsu's Hourglass. That's the build that we've gone for on Kai'Sa. We've seen what type of damage Mystic can dish out, so if he's left unchecked, he will be able to put a hole through the front line of FPX. FPX are a very squishy roster, but they pack a punch going into these fights. Second tier being built up by LWX now.
The problem for me is that W really needs to force out the Lamb's Respite if they want to win a team fight. Their best case scenario is you force that ultimate out and then you lock everyone up in Pepper's ultimate. You have Xie with a massive AoE, try to finish the fight. That would kind of be their dream scenario, but they probably need to find a pick to start that entire chain of events.
Not much hard lockdown to kill someone right off the bat. But plenty of ways to deal with the Lamb's Respite. However, Baron has been started. They'll peel back off. Pepper spots it out with the flag this time. Twin Shadows onto Ben. Slowed down, but there is a turret there from Azir to protect them.
Oh, that's such a massive slow field. You could see how long it actually lasts.
I mean, just remember that bottom lane, there was super minions, so 957 is going to be forced to deal with that eventually. Once bitten, twice shy for Pepper, though. This time using the flag to spot out if members of FPX were inside that brush.
It's getting smarter.
Oh, he misses the flag this time around, forced to flash.
A little bit unfortunate, places the flag in the wrong direction.
Inhibitor does respawn, so that's some breathing room for WE, but FPX with the gold lead are going to try and start up Baron again. Taking a lot of damage trying to do this, though. And actually deciding they're going to go back to base. So resetting the map, they don't have firm control over the map just yet. I mean, most of the control is going in favor of FPX. They have control over the red side of WE's jungle, control over the Baron pit as well.
Felt like they could have continued to do the Baron, but FPX was worried that LWX would actually get cut off from the fight. Let's see, the mid lane was already pushing in for WE, so FPX decide to play it even safer. Just back up for the moment.
So we said it's a 6,000-ish gold lead. Most of that is on the jungler, as well as the AD carry. 2,000 gold up for FPX, and then about 1,000 on Chris, the support.
That's always the dangerous one. That's the one where you kind of sweat, where you see most of the gold lead on LWX.
But also, Pepper going towards the late game, building GA as well as Warrior's Enchantment. Probably going to go towards more defensive items now. See that with the double Ruby Crystal. Ooh, got it. Nice snipe by LWX. So his itemization not as strong as the likes of Alex, who scales into the late game fantastically. Jarvan's a curious pick. I know it was one that's very popular for Pepper, but doesn't do incredibly well with the current meta, especially later on in the match. Pepper, oh, so much damage on towards this Jarvan.
That's what happens when you have no armor resist.
He's got to get out of here. Now
yeah,
they're just
he
going
only
to try
has
and
a GA.
turn on towards this Baron. Pepper has to stick around, throws out the flag, a couple of auto attacks, and he'd be taken down. WE going to try and start a fight though.
Chris should try to zone outside of the Baron pit. but
Let's
he's
see if
staying
Pepper
inside.
goes for the steal, but they're going for the fight instead. Chris taking a lot of damage. 957 on the front lines with Ben. Mystic, though, in a good position. See ya! Damaging the entire FPX team. Pepper didn't even need to show up for the fight. The support just gets popped, and WE force FPX off the Baron.
That was good zoning from 957 as well. He pops the Gargoyle Stone Plate and gets the 3-man, so that's 100% extra HP.
We're approaching WE territory, though.
Here comes the Elder Drake team, baby.
Elder Drake team is going to be online soon. One more Elemental Dragon for them to get through, and then we'll have Elder Dragon spawn in about 40 minutes in this match. Showing they're no pushovers, though. Even without Pepper being available to fight there, they get a good front-to-back fight. FPX are making the right plays, though. LWX going aggressive against Pepper, knocking him out of the team fight. They set up around Baron perfectly. They peel off of Baron and look for the fight.
Just felt like the positioning in that last Baron fight could have been a little bit better. I feel like Chris should stand outside of it.
They are going for it again. Spots it out. Pepper knows this started. Half health again. Teleport coming in from 957. FPX have to be careful about these fights, though. Ben taking the front lines. Mystic is going to rejoin the fight. They had to get a push going in the bottom lane for Team WE.
Yeah, this is one of those compositions where the AP, the magic resist debuff really hurts from the Baron. Mystic and Shia both pack a lot of AP on their own, and of course 957 burning down the entire team will as well. It's a bit of a difficult situation for Chris to gauge the team fights. I actually feel like a lot of the times he's going to have to push 957 away.
How the turntables, though, Clement. As Gimgoon makes his way towards the bottom lane, FPX are surprised to see WE try to start the Baron. Chris in a lot of trouble once again. Lamb's fight to keep them alive. Pepper has the ultimate available. It takes a lot of damage. LWX, the shotgun, going forward. Front line for WE in a lot of trouble. 957 will be forced to flash over this wall. Does have it available, but staying alive inside the pit for as long as possible.
He's just letting the sadism run down. He can do a bit of damage to FPX.
Doesn't have to flash away, so plays that very well. Very calm coming out from 957 in the face of danger, but LWX stepping up in this match. I mean, he takes the name of Shotgun quite literally, but it's working for him.
Those are two of the most tankiest members on WE. Ben and Pepper being chunked out basically solely by LWX, holding down the front line, in fact. This is when the shotgun is your weapon of choice.
So again, Baron buff gets started. Pepper at half health, Ben at half health, 957 full. Ultimate not going to be available for Dr. Mundo going into this, but Alex takes a lot of damage to start. Big ultimate coming out from Ben to kickstart the fight. Mystic forced to use Zonya's a flash away. Chris going to go down first. Pepper in GA right now. Gimgoon holding the front. LWX trying to find an opportunity to get back in, but Pepper's going to live through this fight. FPX lose 2 members as Sia's going to try and jump in. Slice the soldier
Pepper
through.
goes down.
Big snipe coming out from LWX. Kills the jungler from the side of Team WE.
And that's so important because that could stop the Baron from being taken right here.
Oh, they're still
FPX
going.
do still have their jungler.
Kindred went back to base, though. Kindred's gone back to base, so this could be a 2-on-4. Spots it out now. Mystic
delay.
only just started getting damage on towards this. Mystic going forward. Cool, 1 shot away. LWX forced the flash as well. WE hold on to aggro. Baron buff being taken down low here, Clement.
I think they're going to give it up. Alex is just not in position to deal anything with it. That was a full Icathian rain onto one target, and you could see Cool's health bar drop to the 300s. Ballsy play by Mystic to secure that.
Perfect timing as well, because it makes sense that WE come online at 35 minutes. The Elder Dragon time, that's coming up next as well. Gold is now 1,000 gold between the two teams.
And W are spot on to the minute. Those were 2 hero plays coming in from Mystic back-to-back to secure his team the Baron buff. The first one was, for me, really dodging out on the WQ combo from Crisp. You know, Crisp has been landing them all through the early game, but could not find the crucial target in the last moments of the team fight. And to be honest, I do feel like FPX played it a little bit haphazardly.
Look at Ben's ultimate as well.
Woo! That's a 4-man ultimate. See Crips trying to go in, doesn't get Mystic. He timed the Zanya as well, but Mystic flashes out of the scenario, and look at Gimgoon, he's stuck in such a bad position.
I also feel like Chris not having a good series on this Alistar. 2 games already. Or we don't like that. Not like this.
You have to get the Pepper death recap.
Chris not having the best 2 games so far. He's been caught out quite frequently on this Alistar. A lot of times when FPX were setting up for plays, he'd be caught out, have to use Flash or his ultimate, and then it's difficult for them to set up. Remember how squishy FPX's team composition is? Without the Lance Respite, without the Demonic Ascension from Swain, you're really relying on Crisp. He's the front line.
I'll be honest, I feel like FPX are playing the team fights incorrectly. They're going in while they have the poke advantage, so they're not really willing down WE. What should happen is Chris should just try to make sure the Mundo isn't able to come in, and they outrange both the Azir and the Kaisa. So a bit of a weird way that they're playing in. They're playing aggressive and trying to finish off the backline when they have the range advantage.
Look at Chris' position though. Looking for a deep flank against WE. Mystic with the Guardian Angels pickup. That is a difficult Kaisa to deal with now. Zonya's Guardian Angel. Shield from the ultimate as well. Protection from Braum. Double Locket being picked up by the side of WE. Gargoyle's Stoneplate Locket also is the pickup for Dr. Mundo.
Now Mundo's timing on those gargoyles have been immaculate this game. Always gets the 3-man for the 100% extra HP.
Technically, FPX still in the lead when it comes to items. WE
In gold as well.
Almost equalizing the gold, but they haven't gone back to shop since they were about 2,000 gold behind. There are some crucial items. Rylai's been picked up by Azir. We already talked about Mystic's items. It feels like he's going towards a Hex Drinker next, or a QSS.
I think that's the most secure bet. It could be the Hex Drinker or the... I think it's Hex Drinker. He has enough attack speed.
Either all works. Either all does work.
Could also just be going for the QSS as well. Just dodge out on one of those crowd control abilities.
But it is the Hex Drinker, so Mystic pure defensive Kaiser at the moment with his last 3 items. You kind of have to against the team composition of FPX.
Now I think you can allow yourself to not be the main damage source when you have Shia on the team as well.
LWX is maxed out though. Lord Dominic's regards. Oh, sorry, Mortal Reminder being picked up. Dealing with Dr. Mundo, but Seraph's Embrace fully stacked. Mirror Mana fully stacked.
They need to find time to trade blows with W without getting into melee range. And I really like what W are doing. They're basically face rushing as soon as the 2 teams collide. And I don't think FPX is responding in the correct fashion. Should try to keep their distances in most of these team fights, and it does feel like FPX are... They don't really know where to go right now. Like, they don't have the map control to push to the enemy side of the jungle. It's too easy for Cool to get flanked.
Also, 957 can't be matched in split pushing now.
Not
You
at
can
all.
send Gimgoon up there or LWX for teleport, but neither will really be able to kill or deal with 957. He's going to ignore everybody. And his teleport into the fight is quite simple. Just teleport there and be a brick wall.
So it does seem like W will have the front-to-back advantage at this point already, and they're going to set up for the big Elder Drake fight. FPX could still potentially poke things out, and when you have a Kindred, there's always a chance for steals.
It's just even. Like this match is still even between WE and FPX, and it could swing either way. Redemption's been picked up as well for Braum. So Ben will have a way to heal up the team, especially if it's through a Lance Respite. Ooh, 1 W from Mystic, and Cool loses a 1/3 of his hit points.
A lot of damage being thrown at them. So FPX spot this moment where W are definitely split up. They see the Mundo on the top side.
Split objectives though, in a minute, Elder Dragon comes up, and then 45 seconds later, Baron buff. Either team could try and start a fight around that objective.
I think FPX's only chance is to really set up at Elder Drake, force W into a big team fight. But W is playing this really well as well. They're just forking mid.
They've also got a slow push going on the top side. That should crash around the spawn timer of Elder Dragon. That's a really good setup coming up from 957. When that top lane crashes in, WE could try and pull the trigger on Elder Dragon, push somebody towards the top side, or perhaps, you know, peel off, let the minions do their work. LWX, hello! Stop it!
There was a control ward there. That's a really good vision swoop coming out from FPX. They take away all the potential flank spots. But neither side are going to be able to hold on to the Elder Dragon.
That's a choke point WE. Don't really want to be
Yeah.
in. They make their way through it anyway. And LWX still being hyper aggressive. Moving forward, gets good poke onto Ben. You can see Gigoon now understands that top wave being pushed in quite heavily. Elder Dragon spawns. FPX are being put in a pinch here.
FPX have to set up somehow. They have to have W walk into them, and that's really the only way they look for like the winning team fight. But W are smart enough, like they're avoiding all of the potential corridors where they could be completely pincered. Gigoon's gonna have to have a very good flanking ward. We can see him going back, trying to go back.
Oh, nice use of the Azrael ultimate. Clears out majority of the range minions from LWX. Good play. Now they don't have to go towards top side. They can just let the minions die to turret. But WE going to start on Elder Dragon.
It's already down to half health. This is not a fight FPX want to walk into.
Gets it to the back lines. Big Cataclysm. Lands with Spike to keep all of them alive. Massive knockup coming out from Chris. Sia tries to separate the team. Mystic in the back lines on top of Cool. LWX going forward as well. Mystic trying to stay alive. Cool is dead. LWX is next as well. Mystic with the triple kill.
And Mystic goes 1v3 straight into the back line. Cool couldn't find him during the invisibility. He tries to tag him with the ultimate, but he can't find Mystic. What a great turn from Pepper as well to start off the fight. Keeps himself alive in the enemy team's lands respite, and without any poke damage done, FPX collapse in the 5v5.
Beautiful play coming out from TWE, stalling all the way to the late game. Then turning it around at Elder Dragon. They set it up with the macro play, but they hammer it home with the micro. Big outplay coming up from WE. They 2-0 FPX.
This was a 6,000 gold lead in FPX's favor. They had full control of the Baron area. But Mystic, with his hero plays, able to snipe out the enemy team, able to catch Chris over and over again when he was trying to secure vision, go for those engages, and they loosen the grasp of FPX onto that Baron pit.
Huge snipe with the Kaiser pick onto the backlines, immobile carry of the Vel'Koz. And LWX's item choices now make a lot of sense. The Hex Trinket got popped at the end. Ezreal could not deal with it. Big plays all around coming out from WE. They knew how to hold on to the match. They knew how to turn it around, and then they knew how to hit it home. And that's not a match that FPX could afford to lose.
Not at all. Rogue Warriors and Snake still staring down at them in the schedule. They've already finished their easier matches, I should say, in OMG. They're pretty much going to have to win everything if they want to climb over Snake. That's going to be the big showdown between these two teams. Just look at that gold graph. 6K up from FPX. They had the lane counter strategy, but I don't think they had the better 5v5 necessarily. And in those tight corridor situations, I felt like they needed to back off at times. They needed to let the poke do their job, but instead, in the big Baron fight, Chris went in, could not find Mystic with the flash, and then the entire team fight collapses for them.
39,000 damage to LWX as well. He was playing his heart out to try and keep FPX in that, which is not enough on the Ezreal pick.
Just the fact that they could only secure one Baron there.
And they got it.
Yeah.
And they played around the top lane fight really well. That was the first hero play coming out from WE as well. They repelled the bottom lane inhibitor push that came out from FPX, and FPX tried to push towards the Nexus, but Mystic stays strong, repels them back, and then that's where WE started to mount the comeback.
Yeah, I think overall, if W do find FPX's composition in type open terrain, it's going to be very difficult for FPX to win. They need to hold a front of some sort, but they were too willing to engage and trade on the back lines. And that's just one part of me that feels like FPX overall is still much better going for the all-in type of compositions. It suits their nature better. That's what they do organically, and they don't really have the discipline to run the poke. That's why they've been moving away from the poke for a while.
This was not an all-in composition.
No.
I mean, you have Chris playing the Alistar to start initiations, but when you have a Kindred and then 3 other carries, difficult for FPX to just keep moving forward. And when they got the leads, they were trying to move forward, but WE knew how to push back every single time.
Yeah, it was a really good flanking opportunities coming out from Mystic as well. He always kept his eyes onto the back line for that potential dive straight onto Cool. And Vel'Koz is just not a champion when it comes to the really late game and you don't have map control. It's such a difficult pick to play.
Well, let's take a look at the fight that took place around Baron, because that was one of the crucial fights we have to highlight. The Elder Dragon. This is where Pepper started the fight. Alex popped the ultimate early, which is quite nice, but Mystic this entire time. Zonya's away from Cool's abilities and dash in the backlines, that's it.
Yeah,
it's
it
all
pretty
over
much was
there.
a 1v3 in that scenario. You could see Cool only tagged him for a little bit, but he was still able to survive through all that damage.
That was big.
Yeah, that was massive. Also, the white flag raising. I love the emote usage from our LPL players.
It's fantastic.
They know when to wrap it up.
But still, I can't believe how big of a play Mystic's able to make there, and this is the coulda, woulda, shoulda WE that we saw today against FPX. This is the WE that we should be seeing more of, and unfortunately too little too late for them. It's redemption for them. 2-0 against FPX is a good score for them, but it's not going to have any impact for their playoff standings.
You know how long they locked up the Ben Mystic duo?
How long?
It was 6 months. The last time they played together was February 5th. So they kept him in the refrigerator, and finally at the end of the split, they come out. So it feels really bad as an LPL fan because this could have been a semifinals team. They were always
It could have been
talked about for their team fighting. And at the very end of the split, you see what could have been.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, sometimes running nine lineups really does hurt your synergy and chances overall.
And it hurt Team WE in a lot of their matches they played so far. But Mystic picks up MVP off the back of that second game, rightfully so. I mean, that last team fight wasn't the only hero play he made. There were so many different attempts from Mystic to keep WE in the match.
I had a lot of questions about the Kai'Sa showing that lane early on when FPX was clearly trying to target his own lane.
He also had a lot of criticism towards his play very early into the match. Remember, the early leads that FPX got were from picks on to Mystic.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he was stuck underneath his tower, Kai'Sa was able to force the double flashes, and then Chris had such a good engage for the early part of the fight. I believe he killed Mystic twice with just one of some of those engages there. So, I don't know, like, do I like this old WE style, like the style where they just hold on to 35 minutes and have that double carry? Or do I like maybe game one where they flow with the meta a little bit more? I kind of lean more towards the game one, to be honest.
And we do have to give some criticism towards FPX as well, especially for the game one drafting. That did not look good coming out from FPX.
Yeah, that's a big story about FPX. They did lose their coach this split as well. Now coaching JD Gaming for BSYY.
Look how good JD Gaming is doing at the moment.
Yep. So actually, these two teams actually have a lot of mirrored storylines. You know,
Yep.
both of them losing their not JD Gaming. Sorry. A TOP was where BSYY landed up. Excuse me. Home is the one coming in from WE, going over to JD Gaming. So a lot of mirrored storylines for both of these teams, and it feels like we're probably going to see a new grudge between these two teams really forming up. You know, like WE basically, in essence, has denied FPX from playoffs if they don't make it this time
That's
around.
true.
They would have denied them twice in a row.
Yeah, twice in a row. At this time around, not going to be the same story where WE actually make it to playoffs,
Yeah.
but it could be the start of FPX not being able to make it there. Do really want to look towards LWX though, because he was crazy on his Ezreal pick. He was trying to not only keep FPX in it, he was trying to hammer it home as well during a couple of the fights. He was pushing quite aggressively towards the Nexus, even when they were falling behind, constantly trying to knock Pepper as well as Ben out of fights before they took place. And he is really living up to the name of the shotgun.
If there's two AD carries that I would want when I have a lead, they would be LWX and Jackie Love. Like, I feel like if there's a scenario where you just want your AD carry to go all in, deal as much damage as possible, those are your two best options in the league. You could criticize them for finesse, but they're all in potential. Their willingness to really find those targets, the target selection from them, is what makes them above average AD carries in on the LPL.
Well, let's actually take a look and see how the LPL currently stands. We just had 2 matches played in the first day of Week 9. WE, unfortunately, will not be able to make it to playoffs. FPX now drop further behind. They need to get to 4th place if they want to stay in playoffs contention. But Snake, look at that, 6 and 7. 3 games to play over FPX. 3 different opportunities to pick up the points. And that's even more chance to deny FPX a chance at playoffs.
That would be a 1.5 series lead over a stretch of 3 series for FPX to try to catch up to. Very difficult to do. There's only 2 scenarios where that could actually happen. They win 3, Snake only win 1.
Very difficult. Very, very difficult scenarios. On top of that, even OMG being knocked out almost. It's not confirmed, but their loss against EDG today would be heartbreaking because now they are also, they're not only behind the top 4, but they're even behind FPX when it comes to rankings to try and get towards playoffs.
And you could just see from that standings that all eyes are still on the Western Conference, while we have 3 teams in the Eastern Conference already locked. Everyone's hanging around the same scores, and in fact, Snake could still take the first slot in the Western Conference over Rogue Warriors at this point.
It's a tough ask, though.
We're week 9.
Snake have to win everything, and I believe Rogue Warriors have to lose everything.
That is true, but the Western Conference is much closer in terms of the skill gap. Anything can happen, and even TOP took the 2nd spot for quite a while this in the previous week as well.
But that's the end of the matches that we have today. So let's take a look at tomorrow's LPL's matches. LPL runs from Monday to Wednesday, then Thursday to Sunday. The English broadcast will not be on Tuesday as well as Wednesday, but you can still watch tomorrow's matches between BLG and RNG as well as LGD and Suning on Douyu.com or Panda.tv.
And here's the big one. Who will wear the wig? LGD versus Suning is basically the decider for 4th place in the Eastern Conference. Currently, SNG is 1 series up after the win in the e-commerce wars.
Remind everyone, what's this who will wear the wig business?
All right, so there's 3 people that will wear the wig.
Who's
it's
number 1?
Raz.
Okay, Raz.
It's Pulse.
Pulse.
And it's me.
And it's you. What are the 3 scenarios where one of you 3?
And if LGD do make it to playoffs,
okay,
then we don't wear the wigs. Frostcurrent does.
If
she's going to wear 3.
So Frostcurrent wears the wig if LGD doesn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, but Suning looked so good yesterday. After that quadra kill from coming out from Fury on Ahri, I was like, you know, we were hyping about LGD because they had the 4th best win rate over the past month, and that's really hard to accomplish. Much better than even Suning Gaming. But once again, LGD, I put my faith in them. And love is the first step to becoming a Sith Lord.
So what happens if... So is it all 3 of you that are going to have to wear the wig if that doesn't go in their favor?
Yeah, but think about it this way. If Frostcurrent loses and LGD makes it, she could do her own analyst desk with like 2 wigs on each hand. It'd be the Frost-only desk, which might not happen.
I wish you, Pulse, and Ruz the best of luck. I'm really excited to watch you guys wear the wig, which could be as soon as this Friday, because Friday, the English broadcast of the LPL will return. We have the matches between Vici as well as JD and LGD taking on Invictus Gaming.
All right, we don't talk about that match, but IG have been looking so dominant at that 2-0 victory over RNG, with Rookie just snatching up the match over and over again on Rise.
Cool.
Oh, that's going to be a fun one to catch between him and Yuki.
Make him stop, because Rookie looks amazing at the moment. I know Rusty has Yuki fairly high up in the tier list as well.
Yeah, that's true.
He's been standing out as a mid laner for LGD recently.
But it's still a very uphill battle. Remember, Yuki, all his champions were completely nerfed on 8.14.
Yeah, not just that, but Invictus Gaming are so strong. It's Spring Split. They drop a single match throughout Spring Split before going to playoffs. They're looking to try and do the exact same thing for Summer, where they've only dropped a single game.
Please, just nobody break their hand. No more kitchen accidents. No more knives on any of these players.
You just want to make sure the Shy makes it all the way.
Yeah, I just want to see, like, Invictus Gaming step up to the pedestal and go for the place that they deserve in history. 18-1 in 2 splits, and then you drop out of the semifinals. Please don't make that happen, because we were robbed.
To be fair,
finals.
They did drop out against RNG, who eventually ran to the finals, went all the way to MSI and took the MSI trophy home to China. So, I mean,
we don't regret.
Win some, you lose some, right?
Yeah, but Invictus Gaming's time to shine.
And they've been performing really well, and if you want to catch the English broadcast, they will be playing on Friday. Remember, there's still more LPL tomorrow, but that will be only covered by the Chinese broadcast. But that's the end of our broadcast tonight. On behalf of Clement, Rusty, our entire production crew, as well as everyone that's watching, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys on Friday.